Right now, your city is standing on borrowed time. Every second, millions of invisible dependencies hold this fragile reality together. Water flows. Lights are on. The system breathes. But what happens when it stops? Such a scenario won't happen in the distant future. Tonight. What will happen to you, your building, your neighborhood in the first 72 hours? This is the Urban Collapse Lab. Today, we'll examine the first 72 hours of an urban power outage. Not the Hollywood version, the real one. The version your city planners modeled. The version your emergency managers never want you to experience. We'll examine it hour by hour, system by system, so you'll understand exactly what failed, exactly when it failed, and exactly what you can do about it. No need to panic. It's not a figment of imagination, just the reality of infrastructure. The 0 hour. The grid collapses. It could be a solar event, a cyber attack, or a chain reaction failure from an overloaded transformer. The cause is less important than the effect. In a large metropolitan area, the first thing you'll notice is the silence. The familiar hum of a bustling city, the background frequency you've grown accustomed to your whole life, suddenly cuts off. Within seconds, traffic lights go out. Elevators stop mid-air. Your refrigerator in the kitchen shuts off abruptly. Your phone still works for now, but base stations are drawing power from a backup battery that will last 4 to 8 hours, depending on your carrier and location. Here's the first thing people misunderstand. They think the biggest danger in the first hour is darkness. No, it's not. The biggest immediate danger is traffic. Large city intersections without traffic lights lead to a chain reaction of accidents within 15 minutes. Emergency response is already compromised because dispatch centers are writing out their own backup power limitations. In the second hour, if you're in a tall building, you start to notice something else. Toilets still work for now, but the water pressure drops. Most city water systems rely on electric pumps to maintain pressure above the 6th floor. The water you have is water already in your building's pipes, and, if you have one, in a water tank on the roof. Many modern buildings don't have this tank. Fourth hour. Cellular networks are starting to malfunction, not because phones aren't working, but because base stations are overloaded. Everyone is trying to reach everyone else at the same time. The network was never designed for 100% simultaneous peak capacity usage. Text messages can still be delivered. Voice calls become almost impossible. Sixth hour. Depending on when the power outage started, the sun has either set or risen. In winter, buildings with insulated windows lose about 1 degree of heat per hour. In summer, buildings heat up faster. The problem of sealing windows is serious. Modern high-rise buildings are designed as insulated thermal environments dependent on mechanical heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. In the event of a power outage, they turn into ovens or freezers, depending on the season.
12th hour. This is the first major threshold. This is where secondary systems begin to fail. Hospitals have backup generators, yes, but these generators run on diesel fuel, and diesel supply chains are now frozen. The largest hospitals have 72 hours worth of fuel. Smaller clinics have less, much less. Supermarkets operate on the principle of just-in-time stocking. There isn't a massive warehouse in the back. What you see on the shelves is, in most cases, what's actually there. After a 12-hour power outage, perishable food items begin to spoil. Frozen goods are about 24 hours away from being unsalvageable. Store employees, facing their own household emergencies, stop showing up for their shifts. Here's what people least understand about urban supply chains. Gas pumps run on electricity. In the event of a power outage, stations cannot dispense fuel even if underground tanks are full. Without fuel, delivery trucks stop. This means resupply stops. Pharmacies, already operating with limited stocks, will face running out of vital medicines within 36 hours. The 18th hour. In high-rise buildings, water pressure has dropped completely above the 10th floor in most structures. If you live on the 35th floor, you now have to make do with only the water you stored and the water remaining in your water heater tank, usually 40 to 50 gallons. That sounds like a lot? No, it's not. The situation changes when you factor in cooking, drinking, hygiene, and sanitation. The 24th hour, the first full day. Most people have exhausted their basic non-cooking food stocks. Refrigerator temperatures have risen to room temperature. The food safety window is closing. Payment systems are offline. Card readers aren't working. ATMs aren't working. Cash is becoming the only transaction mechanism. But here's what most people miss. There isn't enough physical cash in circulation. Modern economies are run by numbers, not paper money. Daily transaction volume exceeds the physical cash supply 40-fold. Even if every store accepted only cash, it wouldn't be enough to sustain normal commerce for even a single day. Now let me debunk a myth. People believe that during a power outage, they'll just use their phones as flashlights and wait. A flashlight works until the battery runs out. This happens faster than you think because you're also trying to use the phone to communicate, find your way, and search for information. But using a phone as a flashlight isn't a myth. The myth is that communication will always remain possible. The truth is, cellular networks are designed to provide redundancy against the possibility of individual base station failures, not regional network collapses.
System parameters are fluctuating. We need to stabilize the core readings.
Without a backup power supply for the tower, without technicians who can travel to repair equipment, without fiber optic networks connecting the towers to the internet backbone, your phone becomes a very expensive paperweight within 24 to 48 hours. The smarter preparation doesn't mean a larger phone battery, nor does it mean assuming your phone will work at all.
The 36th hour. We are now entering the stabilization phase. Stabilization is not recovery. Stabilization is the period when emergencies have passed and slower, longer-term challenges come into play. Hygiene becomes the most important issue. Although much attention is paid to drinking water, it is actually hygiene problems that first undermine public health. When toilets don't flush, when there is no sewage system, when there is no garbage collection service, urban density works against you. The incubation periods of diseases we haven't thought of for generations are measured in days, not weeks. Heat exposure intensifies. In winter months, the risk of hypothermia for the elderly and those with health problems arises from approximately the 48th to the 72nd hour. In summer, the risk of heat stroke increases much faster for the most vulnerable, starting around the 24th hour. Community dynamics change. By the 48th hour, people begin to coordinate locally. Neighbors who have never spoken before discover that collective action is more effective than individual action. Buildings with generators become community centers. People with medical training become invaluable. Accurate information becomes the most valuable commodity, because without functioning networks, rumors spread faster than facts. The 72nd hour, a full 3 days. If municipal intervention has begun,
you will see the first signs. Emergency water distribution points, the presence of the National Guard, temporary power for critical facilities. If you don't see these signs by the 72nd hour, it's not a power outage, it's a collapse. And that's a different scenario requiring a different set of preparations.
Here's the part most people miss. The biggest danger in a 72-hour power outage isn't the darkness. It's not the temperature either. It's not even the water or the food. The biggest danger is precisely the dependence on a single system, the electricity grid. This is the part most people overlook. Water, communication, commerce, transportation, heating, cooling, sanitation. Everything is affected by a chain reaction from that single point of failure. The grid is not just one service among many. The grid is the service on which all other services depend. If you understand that, you also understand that 72 hours is not a random number. 72 hours is the average municipal planning threshold for chain failure in urban systems. Let me show you the timeline in a single visual. Hour 0, traffic lights and traffic. Hour 4, cell congestion. Hour 12, water pressure drops above the 6th floor. Hour 24, food preservation system fails. Hour 36, hygiene critical. Hour 48, heat exposure hazard. Hour 72, the 72-hour threshold. If help doesn't arrive, if the power grid isn't restored, what you're facing is no longer a power outage. This is an extended grid failure scenario, and every hour after this point amplifies the damage from the previous 72 hours.
3 things you can do today. Legal, practical, immediately. 1. Water check. Go to your building and find out if there's a water tank on the roof. Find out which floor the water pressure drops on when the pumps aren't working. Most building managers know this, but most residents don't. 5-minute conversation. 2. 72-hour emergency kit. I'm not talking about that imaginary kit with a year's worth of frozen food, the real kit. 3 gallons of water per person. Food that can be eaten without cooking for 3 days. A battery-powered radio. Flashlights that aren't your phone. Print out your family's contact information because you won't be able to find them online. Total cost, under $100. Total time investment, under an hour. 3rd, find out about your building's backup power supply. Does your building have a generator? What does it power? Usually, this is about elevators, hallway lights, and fire suppression systems, not individual apartments. Know this before you need to. In the next section, we'll get into something most people never think about until it's too late: the water pressure system. Where does your water actually come from? How many pumps are there? What kind of connection is there between the treatment plant and your tap? And what's the actual timeline when those pumps stop? Not 72 hours. Much, much faster. Tell me in the comments, what floor do you live on? And have you ever considered what happens to your water pressure when there's a power outage? This is the Urban Collapse Lab. Systems collapse. Information doesn't.